Welcome to Feed Your Lion. I'm Dr. Jodelle Yount, and I'm here to aid you in the mastery of total health, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and financial. So prepare to have your wellness tank filled up with this podcast. Welcome to another episode of Feed Your Lion podcast. My dear friend Shannon Blanke is over in the chair. We've been talking about doing a podcast for, 2 years?
Longer than that.
Longer than
that.
How
long have I been with you now?
Every time we say, and we've talked, we were going to be on for really random different topics. So we need to do follow-up podcasts after this. But anyways, she is the coolest person ever and a wealth of knowledge. She teaches me all kinds of things about health that I didn't even know about. And she's always suggesting to me reading materials, articles. I mean, you really...
I'm a big reader.
You're the go-to. Or like different podcasts I need to listen to. It's great. So I suggest if you don't have people like that in your life, get people like that in your life because that's how you stay up to date on things. So anyways, Shannon, before we dive in, because we're going to talk about Jimmy's journey today, but before we dive in, talk a little bit about your background and like why you love health so much and how you even got started in that. Because you do commercial real estate, but you're also, you've been a health nut your whole life.
Yeah, I have. Just did soccer, gymnastics, was big in that, and then in high school got into a lot of running. Which I loved, and I've always been an early riser, so then started to hit the gym and run a lot. But my undergraduate's in sports medicine, athletic training, and was an athletic trainer. And when I met my husband and we got married, we lived in Aspen, and I had a job working. My probably best favorite one was being the head athletic trainer at Aspen High School.
That's awesome.
Took care of those kids and did a lot with different teams, a lot of soccer, gymnastics stuff, and covered that. And then just always health and wellness stuff. It's just always been something that's pulled me in. And I liked the whole athletic training side of it because I liked working with athletes. I liked working with people who wanted to take care of themselves. Yes. And then when they had something happened and they were injured and they needed to go to therapy, they were going to stick with therapy. And that was super, super important to me. I was going to do the whole physical therapy thing, and I should have done it like specialized in something, but I just wanted to stick with the athletes. And then when we lived in Aspen, was unbelievable too because everybody's
healthy.
Everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
So everybody, and I worked in the Aspen Club and Spa, and had the job and worked at the high school with the athletes and stuff. So everybody came in where there were snowboarders and pro athletes and all different kinds of things. And
yeah,
so that's why
I've been to like Aspen before, and it is like it's one of those what are those like places in Japan? They're like all the people are like Aspen's kind of like that in the U.S.
It's very small, and
it
was just a great spot to live, and no matter the ages, like you had 80, 90-year-old people that I took care of everybody from all the athletes to older, and it was just they were. I just love that they come in for therapy and they were on it. Like I want to get healthy, I want to get back out there, and so
you're kind of the same as me. I have a really hard time sometimes, like patient wise. Like I have such great like clients, I really do. Yeah. But like I have a hard time when people don't want to help themselves, like they're not motivated. I do a lot better with people who are like kind of like motivated and they're like, okay, steps A, B, let's do it, like and get better. I've never been big on that. Like we just sit in it and get worse and worse. Like I like the people that are motivated, like and seeing those clients, like
which is good. You got into this. The more those people are coming to you, like, hey, I'm ready to get better. I want to get better. What can I do to get better?
That's like the functional meds. That's like people those are people that are seeking out their own solutions. They're being proactive. Like that's. Yeah, it's a different mentality, okay, so we could dive into a lot of topics, but like today we're going to talk about Jimmy, her husband, Shannon's husband. So you have been through a long thing over the last couple years, and I really think this is going to be important. So anybody out there who's got family with cancer or a spouse or kid or anything really, anybody who's dealt with cancer, which is huge in this area. We're like in a cancer belt area.
Supposed to be number one for lymphomas and leukemias, Eastern Kentucky.
That's crazy.
Yeah, West Virginia, this whole
whole
tri-state
area.
area.
Yes, a lot of cancer in this area. So, and I really, there's not many people who haven't had somebody in their life with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a big topic. But so let's start like kind of from the beginning, because Jimmy too, he is a healthy dude.
Yes.
He's like you. You guys have always worked out. You've always taken care of yourself. You're a good eater. I mean, like you've done a lot of like of the things, the preventative things
Right.
already for
Right.
your lifestyle. So kind of talk about the beginning, like stages, like how everything went down and he got sick initially, and anything like preceding,
Yeah, so it was this, we were just discussing the cicada thing. It was last
Yeah.
May, so it was really last May. We've been
Yeah.
here it's been 8 years, so like pretty much right now. And he wasn't feeling good, I want to say it was like April, May. Since he moved here, so right when he got here before me and the girls did, he got instant headaches, like bad, like stabbing pain in the back of his neck, really weird. So he goes to see, who's our friend now, Dr. Brinkman, who's his, allergist and ENT. It's the allergy capital of the world. Okay, weird. You don't think too much about it just because where we are, the valleys and everything,
Yeah.
the smog and just everything that we have here. All right. And I didn't think too much about, the AK steel, the plants, the coal mine, like whatever. Didn't think about that. But, there's a lot of stuff here that's in the air. So that it was May, April, May. He goes to see the doc, gives him some other allergy medications, and he puts him on a steroid. And a couple weeks go by. The cicadas came out, and it was like, so this was weird. I got sick first. He started, allergy, like, said that March, April,
Yeah.
that springtime.
Yeah.
Everything started, he starts to get this. We don't think anything of it. Then he starts to get tired, and he's coming home from work midday, like noon, wanted to take a nap. I'm like, oh, weird. So so these cicadas come out of the ground, and the noise and everything else, and I get sick, like cold. Like whenever I get sick, it's a cold sinus allergy thing. So I'm like, all right, weird. And it lasts like 2 weeks. And I just go, whatever. I'm doing, Motrin, Tal, whatever for the headache and some Sudafed, about the only thing I ever do. And it's like 10 days to 2 weeks. And then he gets it. And I'm like, crap. And I'm like, I feel like healthier than him, or take, better care of myself, I should say, and just eat a little cleaner. So I'm like, oh crap, he's getting it. And he's already got the whole allergy thing coming out, and these things are coming out of the ground that are bringing something up, whatever it is, more allergies. And I'm like, I was on him. I'm like, oh God, he's going to get this man cold and be so sick. And I was just harping on him. I'm like, take care of yourself, go to sleep, drink a ton of water. Here's the, take Sudafed. So, and he starts to come home more, and he's coming home, and he's like, I'm so tired. I've been at work for a couple hours, and I'm exhausted. But I still don't think too much of it. So this goes on. Then in that same time frame, he was also bit by another tick, which he's been since we've moved here several times. And this one is like on his leg and like looking like a welt. Not the bullseye thing, but doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
That's fine. We had I just did a little podcast a couple weeks ago about talking about alpha-gal too, and like the skyrocketed numbers. We had just talked about that. But anyway,
it's bad. And back on that, like RFK, I guess the Maha thing.
Yes.
I guess they're coming out with this alpha-gal and really looking into Lyme now and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's legit. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So he's super tired, all this. So like 2 weeks go by, and he has like steroids and stuff from our doc for allergy stuff. So, all right, he has that. It kind of helps a little bit, but doesn't. Now it's like June-ish. So then he goes, all right, it's on a Saturday. He's like, I'm not going to go back to Brinkman. Let me go hit the quick care.
Yeah.
Saturday, obviously I'm not getting better. Same like headache thing. And he's like, and this tick thing isn't looking good. I'm like, you have all the signs to have, you're having mono, and that was another thing, but everybody was having. Mm-hmm. Mono was spiking, all these people we were talking to, and EBV, Epstein-Barr.
Yes.
So I thought it was, I'm like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the soccer player girls, this was what was strange. All of our soccer player girls, a bunch of friends, were down with mono and EBV. And like in intensive care, like some of them have kept going in and out and back into the hospital. I'm like, all right, so something's going on. Nobody was really on it. Another doctor, other people I was talking to was like, I'm like, is it this, what the hell are the cicadas bringing out of the ground? Like there's something, because everybody's dropping like flies.
Yeah.
He goes to the quick care. Automatically when you say you got a tick bite and they look, oh, that looks bad.
Yeah.
They give him doxycycline.
Yes, yeah.
They do that. They don't run, which was crazy though, they run the Lyme panel, they run the mono panel, which ended up weeks later coming back. Lyme was positive, a mono was negative. But they give you the doxycycline, and he feels a little bit better. That's like maybe 10 days before. June 13th is when we ended up at the ER, and he gets diagnosed with AML.
So was it just the continuate going downhill from that
Yes,
initial?
it was literally probably
okay.
a 30, 35-day
Yes.
period of,
Okay.
there's some allergies, headache.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, it took me a
Okay.
long time to explain. I was trying to remember
No,
all
no,
the
no,
things, but
yeah.
it was like the headache, these allergies, the cicadas, I want to say came out, it was like that May
Yes.
1st time, and then it was just a whole down, it was like that, like of a month
Yeah.
and another,
Yeah.
30, 35 days
So,
of.
so he ends up in the ER, and all his lab work was in the tank then, right? Like his white count, red count, platelets.
So the one thing that got him there, so he's taking the doxycycline, and then it was on a Friday actually, and he's sitting there, and same thing. We're at the Winchester our friends were in town, having some lunch. Go home, and he's tired. He's like, I'm whipped again. I'm gonna lay down. All right, lay down. And everybody, I knew it. We all knew he wasn't feeling well. He lays down, he wakes up, and he has a chest pain. Not a chest pain, like a cramp.
Yeah.
So not, but he's like, oh, maybe I have to go to the ER.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I'm like, if you go to the ER, I'm like, they're gonna think you're having a heart attack. They're definitely gonna take you in. And
Yeah.
so he's sitting there a little bit, and we go, because he's like, I'm taking myself. I'm like, well, you're not gonna drive yourself. Let me take you. We go, and they're like, it was like code red for blood work as we're sitting there after they pull his blood. Do an EKG, like he's fine. The heart looks,
Yeah.
everything's normal. Do his blood work, and then they're like, James Blanke. Oh boy. So he's like, that's gonna be my blood work. So then we get in there, and all these other doctors come in. I'm like, oh, this is not good. They're like, your white count's 213. We have never, your platelets are in the hole, you have no platelets, you have no hemoglobin. They're like, and now he's still up walking around, looks good. He's just
He
tired.
was pale though.
Yes.
He
He looked sick. Like to me,
Yeah.
I could tell too. He looked
He
sick,
looked
but I mean,
pale,
he's
yeah.
still up doing.
But he was still doing all the things.
They're like,
yeah.
how the hell are you up walking around?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just doing my thing. I'm doing
Yeah.
every day. But I felt like crap for the last month.
Mm-hmm.
I did, the steroids and this, and then the doxycycline, and now I'm here. So they were like, yeah. So this whole roundabout, that's like AML, acute myeloid leukemia. I think we both looked at each other. I laughed. I'm like, leukemia? What the hell are you talking about?
You didn't, did you
No,
know?
I'm like, he is, there's no way this man has leukemia.
Yeah,
No way.
yeah. So, okay.
And
so
to me, and I'm just like, they're like, instantly talking about chemo and this, and I'm like, to me, I'm like, everybody chill the fuck out.
Take
I'm
a
like,
break.
yeah,
Take
I'm like,
a minute.
everybody, I'm like, no. We need to take you to UK right now. We need to go to Marquis Center, Cancer Center, and then we're going to take him by ambulance. And by this time, it's like 9 o'clock on this Friday night. And the kids are, the whole thing in my head, I'm like, wait a second. So he asked too, he's like, well, no, I'm going to go home with her, and we'll drive our car. I'll take him. I'm like, yeah, I'll drive him to Lexington in the morning. You shouldn't do that. I'm like, okay. So I was on texting another friend, it's a couple nurses, and they're like, yeah, looking at his blood work, just let him go. Take the ambulance to UK. So we did. And then meet with the first cancer docs the next morning, and they say this is AML, and he needs to start chemo absolutely immediately, and we're doing the,
I'm laughing because I know how you were like, you were like, nope.
I was like, fuck, no, yeah, I'm like, nope. I think I just said no to so many doctors and everybody that came in. I'm like, no.
Okay, I want to say this because there are a lot of people, and I'm a physician, and so I get how physicians can be because they're trained a certain way,
Yeah.
and it's we're got to do this, and this,
Right.
and it's
there's protocol.
There's protocol,
yes.
and but I want to point out from a patient side, you have to advocate for yourself.
Oh yeah.
You really, you took the top on advocating, and I think a lot of people don't do that, and then things happen, and maybe things that you don't want. Mm-hmm. So take the time to advocate for yourself, ask the questions,
Yeah.
do the research, there's going to be things that you might find that your doctor may not know about.
Right.
The doctor does not know everything. They can't know everything about everything. It's, so.
And I had a lot of whys. I'm like, why does he have AML?
Yes.
And
Question.
there's nobody
Yes.
I had a ton of questions. How does this man who's super healthy, who works out every day and eats, how does he have AML? Mm-hmm. It's just it's surprise, this is what happened. It's the luck, I don't know. Some people just get cancer. I'm like, no, that's not a good answer. That's not no way. He's got what's going on with his blood that is, his bone marrow is not making the right amount, platelets and this. And so I'm like, I want answers. Nobody had answers. They were like, this is just what we have to do. We have to hit it with chemo. And I'm like,
so you, because you didn't really have anything done at UK. You guys went to Texas right away?
so that was the thing. So we meet with the first doctors and they were fine. They really they couldn't answer any questions. They were like, this is what we do. You know, we're going to take them up. Chemo starts tomorrow. We're going to do the 7-3, which then, you know, and of course I'm like, I have to like educate myself because I don't know about cancer. I don't know about leukemia. I haven't had anybody close to me have it. So I'm like, let me do some research here. And I'm like, and second of all, I'm like, we're going to get a second opinion. So you guys could just chill the hell out, like, or a third opinion. I'm like, so I don't think anything's going to happen here. And then I do have friends that have had different cancers, a prostate and another really close girlfriend of mine that had bladder cancer that all, went to MD Anderson. I'm like, that's kind of the place you go when you have cancer. I'm like, so let's make an appointment there. It's supposed to be the best like AML doctors that were, down there and stuff. So we set that up. So, but as we're there, just some things started happening, which made me really irritated. It was like, okay, we're going to do a bone marrow biopsy, see how bad it is, right? The blasts and everything. Yeah. So when you have the blast, he was at 78% blasts in his blood, and his white count was 213,000. So I remember like blood work, I was like, oh, that's bad? That's not a good number? You're supposed to be between like 11 and 14. I'm like, oh, that's right. Okay, so that's not a good number.
Yeah.
But they put him on hydroxyurea. Here, they started it. So by the time we got, it was like 7-10 days later to MD Anderson, his white count was almost normal, and his blasts were down to 23%. So what I know now, we wouldn't have touched any chemo. We still made sure they did like the lowest amount of chemo that they give to elderly people. But go back a little. While at UK, they're explaining we're going to do a bone marrow biopsy. Chemo starts tomorrow. We have to do the 7-3. You're going to be in isolation and all this stuff. And I'm like, how bad is it? Like, it's AML, I get that, but what are you looking for in the bone marrow to see how bad all this, how bad this is? And we're starting chemo tomorrow. When do you get the results? They were like, in like a week. I'm like, wait a second. So you're starting the highest dose of chemo with him, but you don't know how bad the bone marrow is? You're not going to get the results for a week? I'm like, no. I know there's other options. I know there's other, and there's clinical trials and there's other things. And then I started pulling up the actual doctor we were going to see, and she's got all these in clinical trials and different things. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna go to MD Anderson. And they questioned me. I actually had a doctor tell me to get off Google. I had a couple doctors that was just like, we're not doing that. You can die from this. I go, okay, we're not doing that. We're going to get a second opinion. And then they, of course, this is your care. Of course you do that. We recommend you get a second opinion. Okay, thank you. So we went home, and it was, he was on antibiotics and this and the hydroxyurea, especially to keep to get the white count down and the blast and everything. So he's home. We go to MD, and then it was like the same thing. We meet with the team and who specialized in AML, and they said the same thing. We're going to start the 7-3, and I'm like, no. I go, and they were saying how they look at him. They're like, he's fit. He's a 51-year-old male. He's super fit. He's a college athlete. He's got the bone, he's got everything that we could hit him with the 7-3, and he's going to recover. And I'm like, I don't look at the body like that. I don't look at him like that. I look at him as super fit, athlete, still a super athlete. I don't want to destroy his body. Let's give him the lowest dose to hit this stuff, and think about it the other way. So that's where this disconnect is. I'm like, I don't like that. So they recommended this. I said another thing, and I'm like, I know you do this triplet, and it's like a lower. They were like, well, we really give that to elderly patients that can't handle the 7-3. I'm like, that's what you're going to give them, because you're not doing the 7-3. You're going to give them whatever lowest dose of chemo you got. It was still like a 21-day.
And they pushed you back on that.
Oh, it was amazing how much they pushed me back. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about and this, and I'm like, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And he's on pain meds, and everything else. So even trying to be a patient advocate, if he was in there alone and they're talking to him, you would just follow whatever the doctors say. That's what's scary. He's like, I would have been like, whatever you think, doc, whatever you think. And so every time they were like, okay, this is what you're going to do. And Jimmy would be like, okay, Shannon, what do you think? And I'm like, fuck no. No. So we did that. Honestly, we were thinking about leaving and not doing it. And I said, I'm like, this is, you have to decide, do you want to do chemo? I wouldn't have done it at all. I'm like, no way. I said, but if it's the lowest dose, we ended up with a doctor who did that's the one reason why we stayed. He got into a clinical trial to do a heavy metals detox. They know AML is directly linked to like benzene, which is here.
Which is here.
Which
in
is
this
here
area.
in the air. And I just said, hey, and you know, after doing his gene testing and all that stuff and stuff that I pulled up, and then I was starting to put his genes into ChatGPT, and I'm like, and I knew you don't have good detox genes, so you don't do that well, you know, and all these things. And I'm like, all right, that's just, you know, you talk about like your histamine bucket, your allergy bucket. I'm like, you've got all these things in Ashland, Kentucky, where you live. It's wonder why we always feel better when we go back to Florida, or we're down there for a week or 10 days, and you know, you get more sunshine and this. I go, so it was allergy season. These cicadas came out of the ground and brought all this crap out with them, and everybody was getting sick, and voila, you end up with AML diagnosis.
So, okay, so he does the 21 days.
Yep.
You came back home after that.
Yeah.
And then what was, because
And that's when it gets, so that's not
That's-
even the,
yeah,
that's
that's-
when it gets really serious.
yes.
Because now he's wiped out. He
Yes.
is 40 pounds less. He has 0 bone marrow. He has no platelets, no white count. Like white count went from 213,000 to 0.2, 0.02. I mean, there was nothing there. So they were like, now, you know, wear the mask, stay in it, don't go out. Like, that's when it was scary. I'm like, you could freaking die on the plane on the way home. You have no immunity.
yes.
And that's what was, so they were like, on leaving that, they were pissed. They were pissed we weren't going home and coming back for another round.
Because they wanted you, the protocol was to do another.
rounds. So, and I sat
6
there
rounds.
after the 3 weeks and I'm like, he's 40, like now he looked like, you know what I mean? Now I'm like, you look like a cancer. You didn't look like it going in.
Yeah.
Now you look like it. And that's when it got scary for me. I'm like, all right. And he wanted to too, like, you know, let's get the hell out of here. I want to go home. I want to, you know, and that started a whole thing. But before we leave there in the hospital, I lost my mind a little bit every day because I was like, they wanted to keep him in isolation for one and do the 7-3, and we said no. I'm like, I'm staying. So I stayed in the room with him the whole time, you know, I was with him the whole time, which was great. And then the food. The hospital food
It's ridiculous.
was, I'm like, you're literally feeding cancer. Like, there's nothing nutritious. God forbid I wanted to get a pasture-raised egg downstairs. There was a Chick-fil-A downstairs. I'm like, you guys have seed oils down there? I'm like, stop bringing him food. Do not bring him food from the hospital. So I ended up going to Whole Foods, and I was bringing in things and bringing him meals or stuff to eat. And then I found that Snap Kitchen food that I got a hold of them, and I'm like, the meals I picked up at Whole Foods, and we actually still get those here to the day. There's no seed oils, there's nothing, no preservatives, no artificial flavors. They do organic as much as possible, pasture like chicken. That's what I'm like. He needs good protein, 0 seed oils, and no sugar.
That's the thing. Why is the first thing, I've said this a million times, why do we not give cancer patients nutrition? Why do we not talk to them about good sources of protein, no sugar? Why do we do this?
It was like honest, Jimmy and I looked at each other every day. I'm like, am I in the freaking Twilight Zone? Like, honest to God. I'm like, because I honestly thought, I'm like, MD Anderson, because here at the hospital, the cafeteria. Then we're at UK at the Marquis Cancer Center, the cafeteria, which was a joke. And they were putting like red Jell-O and orange juice, and you know, I'm like, this is all sugar on like all of it. And then I'm like, MD Anderson's got to have decent food, right? Right? It's the best cancer center in the country. Nope. Same cafeteria.
It's amazing.
Same food. Same thing.
And we know this. It's not like it's not there in the research or the literature. We know this, but yet we don't talk about it. Like,
correct.
That's insane.
So think
about that oxymoron, though. The
Right.
number one cancer treatment in the
Correct.
United States, and you're feeding people food that feeds cancer.
Yeah.
And-
No, and then I had a couple of nutrition. So every day, like, you know, we ended up, infectious disease came in to talk to us, and I had
Same.
a nutritionist come in, a dietitian, and this and this. And every day I'm like quizzing people in this. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? You know, I know sugars aren't bad, it's carbohydrates. I'm like, those are not the right carbohydrates I'm like, you know, he needs to put weight on, he needs the chocolate shake is okay. I'm like, no, it's not. From milk that's from antibiotic cows. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I'm like, this is insane.
Yes. That's really bad. That's really bad. Because that's the people you have educating people that have no medical background or no knowledge or won't think for
Right, and
themselves.
I'm in there here going, like, I'm educated on this stuff. I know, like, I'm in wellness and fitness,
Yes.
right? So I know there's so many people that don't know, and they're just
Yeah.
eat it. I'm like, your diet should be the number one thing.
Yes.
Period. That's when we left. That's what I'm like. I'm like,
Yes.
you are on a basically, strict paleo or AIP, autoimmune protocol. I'm like, because you've got, when you have cancer, you've got to top of the notch clean up.
So
everything that you put
what
in
what
your
did you
body.
do? No sugar, clean meats.
So it was like pasture-raised chicken, pasture-raised eggs, a lot of eggs. Like breakfast every single day was, I still make them to this day. He gets 3 eggs, 3 fried eggs and butter, grass-fed butter, and some tomatoes. And he gets like a banana and half of an avocado. And he's got his fat and his protein. And there you go. Yeah.
Okay, that's just sorry that I sidetracked the story for a minute, but that gets me every time. It makes me insane.
Because it was like you know what I mean? Like it just kept adding. I'm just like, what? Like you know what I mean? Like what is going on?
Yeah.
And you guys want me to come back now for like six more rounds with him? No way.
Yeah, when it wiped him out that bad the first time, and that was the elderly chemo.
Correct.
It's
So that's what
insane.
I'm like.
That's
I'm
what
thinking
we're-
of
that's
you have a
what- that's what
51-year-old
happened.
super healthy muscle
Yes.
mass man
Yes.
who just lost 40 pounds, and then you do this with a 70, 80-year-old. No wonder nobody the chemo kills people. Cancer doesn't. Like 100%. Oh, and then every day also I was like, that's when I started talking about they wanted him in isolation. We said no, and all this. I wheeled him out. I'm like, give me a wheelchair if he can't walk. I am taking him outside every day to get sunshine for half an hour. Every single day,
I
sometimes
love
twice
it.
a day. I'm like, he's getting sun. We shouldn't go out. I'm like, I don't care what you say. I am taking him out. I will steal the wheelchair. So I was like the crazy person on the cancer floor, on the AML floor. I was. That was me. They thought I was like the whack job of.
I love it though because you did the stuff that made sense.
That's what exactly. I'm like this. Like I seriously, are we in the Twilight Zone here? I'm like, what is going on? Like you should take cancer patients. You should be getting the best, And I like just all. I didn't get it. Like that's what I like, especially the nutrition. He should be getting the best food to fuel his body.
Yes.
And I'm like, how are we? It's 2026. How are we still ass backwards on this?
Yes. Yes.
That's why people want to live off the grid and start with their own chickens and cows and like.
Yes.
That's what's happening. But that's what it is. That is what's happening. I think
Yes.
since like COVID and the whole thing, everybody's
People
like,
are starting to like, yeah.
Maybe I should hang out with neighbors and we should all have cows and chickens and
We've talked about it.
I'm up for that. Let's start the compound. on some
You can
land.
join because we got me and Lainey and Jenny. There's a few of us already that we said let's buy like 1,000 acres
Let's do it.
and get like our friends like around, so you don't have to see each other, but like you're close.
Exactly. 20, and we
seriously,
could
10
have
acres. A community garden
I
for
think it's
everybody
awesome.
in our commune. Like I'm totally game.
I'm so game too.
I love it. You're joining our commune,
Okay.
Shan. Okay.
I'm in.
You already like Lainey, so
I
we're
do.
good.
I do. I'm in.
Okay, so you get home. He's weak. He's lost weight. Okay, next things that happen.
Oh, next thing. It was like 3 days. We ended up back at King's Daughters twice for an infection. So he has to come home and he's getting platelets every 3 days, because he has no platelets, so they're giving him those. So the first thing that happens is we come home on a Wednesday. He's supposed to get platelets on Tuesday, sorry. He gets platelets and like a bag of fluids and stuff. We get on the plane Wednesday. Thursday, he's supposed to get platelets. We go to the infusion center over there at King's Daughters, and they didn't send the correct protocol, so they don't have the platelets or anything there. So they have to get them. And now he's like super specific because after you get so much blood, after all this time, a whole bunch of things can be going on. And he's like CMV negative. He needs irradiated platelets. He needs platelet matched, which was super specific. Okay, so all the things I joke with Jimmy too because I always call him extra because he needs this thing. I'm like, you are so. I'm like, even cancer, you're extra with your platelets and shit. So. He's extra. They don't have them. They have to call like all around all the blood banks like around the country to get the specific platelets for him. And he ends up has to wait till Saturday. Then he gets the platelets. We go back and he's not looking good like by Saturday. And Saturday morning we go in and they're not HLA matched platelets. So he gets them. And by that night he has a fever. He's like on the couch. He's like shivering. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So this is like, it's been like 4 or 5 days since. And any platelet. I'm like, you have an infection or something. So, and he said it right after he got the blood. He was like, I don't feel good. That just didn't feel like, because usually you get like a, you know,
little bump,
a little bump. Like literally
yes,
you got,
yeah.
obviously, like you get some blood going through your body. You get oxygen, hemoglobin,
Yeah.
all that, right? So, yeah, you don't have that. I'm like, dude, that's your oxygen protein. You're like, you have no oxygen in your body.
Yeah.
You talk about your mitochondria, all that. So
Yes,
like just
yeah.
energy and efficiency in your body. That's what, like, that wiped him out. So we end up back there. They realize, and it's from, I think I asked the nurse like the next morning, I'm like, those were HLA matched platelets yesterday. She's like, they look, they're like, yeah, no. I'm like, well, there we go. That's what got him sick. So he's in ICU for a couple days, and then we go home. He's better, okay. We go home for another 3 days. He ended up getting an infection, the Pseudomonas, from the hospital visit in there that time, and they're like, it's common, this. I'm like, oh my God. So we end up back in there because now, again, he's spiking a fever. He can't get the plate, like, he's got no white count this, so we end up back in there. Oh, he ended up, and he got a brain bleed before we left MD Anderson.
I don't think I knew that
Did you
one.
know that?
I don't think I knew that one.
Which they said, that was one of the things, too, I kept, like, we in the trialing
Because of
zone.
his platelets and stuff, you
Yeah,
know?
they're like, it's common with
Yeah.
with chemo. I'm like, to get a brain bleed? That's common? And you want to go 6 more rounds with this guy? I'm like, so every day I was like, no. Like, I'm taking him home and I'm going to heal him. And we're going to do all the, you know, wacko things. We're going to do all the functional medicine things like red light and oxygen therapy and, you know, and go outside and get sunshine and eat properly. And that's what we did. Other than with
Okay,
that
so-
stint here because of the wrong platelets and then the infection from the hospital put us down. You know what I mean? That was like almost the period of like all of July, August, and then, but then he was good. And then we,
So talk.
Bottom
I want.
line.
That's what I want to talk about. What you implemented, because you did so much research. So like, talk about all the things you
so
implemented.
that was the thing. So, and I know I've sent you stuff with Gary Brecka.
Yes.
Okay, our buddy
Yes.
who, like, and we worked out together in Florida. So he always has all these
That,
amazing.
that's another good podcast, you guys, is the Ultimate Human podcast
Yeah.
that Gary Brecka does. He talks a lot about functional medicine longevity, and Shannon knew him like before he got bigger. So, anyways,
Yes, we
it's-
worked out at CrossFit together. We were at the same
Yeah.
gym. So when he like popped out because he had helped Dana White,
Yeah.
UFC Dana White, and then he exploded. I was like, holy crap, that's Gary Brecka from CrossFit. And then followed, and he just explains things super clear. He's very educated. You know, he was in the mortality space.
He's a reader too.
He is. He just, it sucks in, you know, all the
Yes.
information, and he's very, very good at just, explaining things.
Yeah.
So listen to him all the time. And then what was crazy right before that, he had a Dr. Jessica Petros on, who, that's who we ended up going with for our functional medicine. So while Jimmy was in the hospital, I'm like, I'm going to find the functional medicine doc. And her team, and we're with another guy called Nick Ellison, and all the products and stuff. It's Cellcore and Aegis, and so this is Petros and Nick Ellison, and set this up before he left MD Anderson. But what she talked about and what Gary talks about is there's 5 things that could be in your body that cause anything, cause autoimmune or cancers, and it's mold, mycotoxins, parasites, heavy metals, and viruses. It was like Jimmy had everything. He had, he had Lyme going on and this. So,
Yep.
in mold, which a lot of people, how do you test for that? A lot of people have.
we have it in this building. Jocelyn just randomly put petri dishes everywhere and tested us. So I've called the HVAC guy about some UV filters,
Yeah.
and we need to get some more airflow going through here. But
Yeah.
but these
Yeah, but
they're 100-year-old buildings. I mean,
I know, and it's
it's
like,
like-
I know, but he talks about, like, especially
Yeah.
Brecka's always on, then he talks about his daughter had mold poisoning and just all those symptoms. Like, you got, it's something in your body that your body needs to get out. He had all of it. He basically had everything going on. So the 2 things they tell you, so when we started working with them, when we got home, and they said too, they're like, finish up, he was, on antibiotics still and all that. They're like, finish all this up, and then we're going to start implementing all the supplements when you get, and all the vitamins to, keep getting outside, keep doing red light, keep getting sunshine, keep eating super, super clean. But the 2 things very important to start cleaning up is your water and your air. So they were like, you need air filters throughout the house, and you need a water distiller. So don't drink any water, and unless it's pull everything out of it. They're like, you had AML, like you have a heavy metal, like, and he had a heavy metal toxicity.
Was he drinking tap or anything? Or was he drinking, like, what was he
No, I
drinking?
mean, that's the thing. We have like a water filter at the house, like whatever. But they said to take every single thing out of it and do so then to add, like, then we do the Baja salt and the trace minerals. We were doing Baja salt, which you did trace minerals, 10 or to 40 drops a day to put everything back in your water, the magnesium, the boron, and the same thing with Baja salt. It's got all the trace minerals you need, because it's going back to the soil. Our soil is shit. We don't know, so it means everything that's grown in it, we don't get the same amount of all the vitamins and minerals that we need, all the minerals that we need. So it's trying to put that back in to his body. And we started this up working with them and got on a call. We would do calls like every couple weeks or once a month, but then all the supplements came and all the cell core stuff it's pulling parasites.
So you were doing like a binder type of thing and then flushing it.
So Petros, her thing, it's kill, bind, and sweat. So that's the three things. And Brecca talks about this too. So you need to kill everything in your body and bind it with the binder and sweat. And so you need your lymph, everything needs to be moving.
Which is why they're about saunas and all that too.
And the heat. And I said too, like the sun, like go outside, sit in the sun and sweat it out. And that's literally what we did all last year. And then he started, it might have been, he's a big gym guy, obviously. It probably took him a good 5 months to get like, I'm going to go to the gym. It might be a little bit every day, but then I just think he recovered so well too because he had such good muscle mass at the beginning.
Absolutely.
And that's your like,
that's your life force.
That's your organ of longevity.
It's your life force right there.
I guess they say too. Who was
the
just
quads.
Talking about this? Your quad size and your quads.
Yes,
if you have
it's an inverse relationship with your mortality.
I'm like, thank God. Yeah.
I know.
And my girls, I'm like, oh, we all.
I know legs. I got some cushion, but at least I got some muscles, man.
Some leg,
I want to live like a beast.
Yeah, that's what I say. I'm like, all right, baby, look at that.
No, he did always take good. That's important.
Yeah.
I push resistance training to everybody I can push it to. I'm like, are you at least lifting 3 days a week? Like, it will save your life.
Yeah, I'm like, you got to move. Like, you got to move.
And you got to move your body.
Move your ass and lift heavy shit.
Yes.
Like, I go back to even being on a farm with a farmer. Like, just you don't have to go to the gym. You lift bags, move shit. Like
hay barrel.
Seriously,
whatever.
Just push, pull, move things.
Yes, you have to do it. And I like it. The water, drink water, be in the sun, lift weights, eat clean.
That's
it's not hard.
No.
When we try to complicate it, because I asked this question the other day. I was in a business meeting and I was speaking about something. I said, how many of you can honestly tell me in the year that you've been perfect about lifting weights 3 times a week, getting out in the sun every day, drinking 3 liters of water minimum a day, and eating whole foods 95% of the time? How many can you tell me that you've done that this year? Not one could raise their hand out of like 30-some people. And I'm like, why are we sick?
Right.
Well, here we go.
Right. And then it's just all those things. Like, I remember reading it with too, like just in nutrition, a binder, that's an apple. It's got fiber. It's vegetables. It's got fiber. What do you think that does in your bowels? It pulls literally into your bowels and then you
Apple a day had a reason.
Like exactly, I'm like just that saying. How long ago, was that? How long have you been saying an apple a day keeps the doctor away?
When you study that, though, all of these foods, these fruits and vegetables, and our food has gotten so low quality. It was so much better 50 years ago, but all of these foods had a purpose, and there was supplements in there, and there was these things in there that did all of these things.
Correct.
We're only having to supplement because you're not eating it, or our quality of food isn't good enough to get it from. I mean, it's...
And all the supplements he's taken, so this Aegis is the company that Petros was doing. He's on all these products. And it's just helping out, all of it's just to get more oxygen to your blood, doing hyperbaric oxygen chamber. How about increasing the oxygen in your mitochondria so your body can run more efficiently? Glutathione. He takes that. All the cell core products, and there's a whole Total Tox binder he's on now. He's been on different things. All of them have, it's like broccoli sprouts.
Oh, yeah.
Apple
Those are
pectin.
huge, yeah.
I mean, like everything's food though. It's all these supplements that are food that are in these supplements to take to help him basically clean your blood.
Yeah, you look at it, a lot of them are like these greens, like power-packed greens and stuff. I mean, it's not like... It's not some like crazy.
That's what I mean. It's right. All of it is actually literally like food product that's in
like concentrated. Yeah.
Because we're not getting it. You can eat as clean as can be, but you might not be getting just because what you're saying, like the food isn't what it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just amazing. It was keeping it really, really simple. And I bet he's probably at the house sitting in the sun right now every day. I'm like, go get your sun.
So
Get your sunshine.
talk about the results and what that doctor, like when you went back to the oncologist, because it worked. I mean,
Well, and I'll tell you this before I forget. His blood every week then, and he started to get better, taking all the supplements and stuff, was creeping up a little bit. It didn't really start to jump until he got back to the gym, lifting weights. So the muscle mass he started putting back on, and he's back at his weight, like 225. Then it started to really jump. So now he's normal. His weight goes up and down still. I don't think it's been completely normal at like that 4.2, right? 4,500. But I'm like, that's fine. Your hemoglobin's up, your platelets are back in the normal. Yeah, but it's cool. Like he was going every 2 weeks to get blood work done. I mean, in the hospital it was like every single day, but going from like 0, the bottom. So let me tell you this too quick. When we left MD Anderson, he had no bone marrow, none. So they hope at that point, we hope you're healthy enough. We're going to send you home, between cycles, get better, see what your bone marrow does.
so we can knock you down again.
And then, come back and we'll knock you down again. Because it could come back. So I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work for us.
Well, yeah, okay, tell
But-
that, because they told you your likelihood of being in a remission was what, with not doing repeated, so didn't they tell you had
They
like
basically said he's going to die.
Yeah.
And then basically said he was going to die because we went home with the brain bleed.
Yeah.
And he could die on the play. So that conversation was like a hoot. You have a brain bleed, and if you don't stay, and he's like, hey, I'll get another CT if you want me right now. But I think he literally said to the doctor, she goes, well, we'll set it for tomorrow. He goes, no. I'm getting platelets today. I'm getting fluids today. And then, I think he needed hemoglobin too. I'll do the CT right now. But the only thing I'm doing tomorrow is getting on a flight at 7 a.m. to go home. They were like, okay. And he goes, I'm not flying on a biplane. It's pressurized. How am I going to, I'm not going to die on the plane. We're like, fine, we'll take our chances and go home. The thing was, then I'm like, if he comes back and the bone marrow is, he's starting to kick out the right, platelets and white blood count and red count, and we come back, because then they kept talking about the bone marrow transplant. Let's get your brothers down here and get their, test their DNA, their bone marrow, and see if they're a match. I'm like, if he comes back for another round, you will wipe out his bone marrow. And then he's going to need a bone marrow transplant, and he's going to be on immunosuppressants for the rest of his life. That's not health. That's not doing anything. So we're going to go home, and we're going to fix him up and do all the wellness, healthy things, right? And do the water and the air and do all the supplements and super, super clean eating. And then we'll check it out.
What did you do for your air? You put new filters in, right?
We got air purifiers, extra ones in all the rooms. And that's made a big difference.
Where did you get those at? I'm
I
curious.
gotta look. It's maybe Air Doctor. I gotta look on Brecca's site.
Because I might get a few of those
a
for
whole
here that I
site of
haven't-
like different things he recommends too, and we went through that.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the water distiller too, or we can link it in or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
we
I'll
could
let you
put
know.
that on so people, if they wanted to know, yeah.
Yeah.
They might, any of those like helpful, like who you were using and names, we can reference them so if people wanted to
Okay.
do more research, they could.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, so I think Brecca's like VIP stuff is
Yeah.
like $97 a month
Yeah.
that we're on. His wealth of knowledge and who he has on there is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just top notch.
I thought about doing the VIP for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
worth it.
so, I lost my train of thought.
I'm trying to think. So yeah, after he was home, I just think the muscle mass thing was, and then at that time, like Gabrielle Lyons, like Dr.
Yes,
Lyons.
I
So
love
that's her
her.
big thing. She talks about that's your organ of longevity.
She talks
and that's
about
the one
muscle.
thing that, and I was reading that book too, her Forever Strong. Like as
yeah,
doing
I
this,
read
just,
that.
Yeah,
It was
just
good.
hitting the gym again. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you legit healed so well because of your muscle mass and that you hit the gym and that was, you're
Yes.
eating good and you're
Well,
like,
look at the cancer patients, the cachectic, like they lose all of that.
Yeah.
And then they die.
right. But we didn't get, so we were back obviously at the infusion center because, for weeks, like the month after he was
Yeah.
out of the hospital both times, right, to still get the platelets and stuff. And we're in there and we're seeing all these people and met some other patients who, this is my third time, I have AML again. Somebody we met died, like it was their fourth time, but I'm like again, am I in the twilight zone? Why are you coming back to do the same thing if it didn't work the first time? If you're
Yeah.
not going home and like drastically changing your life, your diet, everything because something you're doing isn't working.
Yes.
Why do you have cancer? Like that's the main thing. Why are you sick? Why is your body sick?
Yes.
You're missing, you're like,
There's a piece missing or more. more, multiple pieces that need to be addressed.
So, it's a lack of everything. Nutrients, oxygen to your body, and it's really oxygen. Just, like metabolically, you have something going on.
Yeah. I'm in a mitochondrial class right now. I'm doing that functional
yes.
nutrition. And it's mitochondria right now, and it affects everything.
Everything. If your mitochondria are inefficient.
And it's not even just your energy production. It's so much more. It's your immune function. It sets off inflammatory cascades, oxidative stress. I mean, there's so much to it. And I think that's a lot of...
And to say that's what aging is. Your mitochondria are not running optimally.
Yes, everything gets worse as you age. So it's kind of ties into a lot of what we're talking about. And there's so many things that can stress the system. And and that oxidative stress and inflammation are a back and forth thing, and they feed each other. It's like this loop that keeps feeding back and forth with double-headed arrows, and it's very interesting, and all the things you're talking about can affect that.
There was the one time in the hospital, the nurse, every hospital we're at were amazing. They get the body, they get it. It was like the more education doctors have, the more shut off they were of like how the body, like to heal the body. They know their things and their protocols, but then if anything I was saying about this or metabolic health or nutrition, it was like
over the head, because they don't know.
They're not trained in it. They don't like they literally. You don't take a nutrition class, which is brutal.
No.
That's got to change.
That's got to change. I
but
agree.
it is. It's all about. Cancer's metabolic.
Yes.
It's all metabolic. Which then that flagged something with me the other day, saying, "What's the worst cancer? Like pancreatic cancer? What's your pancreas do?" Makes insulin. It's your probably most important metabolic organ in your body. So when that goes, if that's sick or you're screwed. Not screwed, but you got to really talk about dialing in your diet.
Yes.
That's super important.
Yes.
Because I'm like, oh yeah, that is the scary, the scary one.
Absolutely.
I'm like, yeah, that's kind of an important. All of it's all important, but I mean, your blood's. That's what they kept telling me. Your blood, you need da 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 da. He's got blood cancer. Yeah, okay, I get it. That's super important. But if you have no hemoglobin, he's got no hemoglobin, no platelets, so he has zero oxygen running through his body right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we fix that?
Yeah. You're asking root cause questions, and they're trying to address
correct
the picture in front of it.
So
Right.
That's what
I
mean. They had no. So that's what That's just what you're doing. And just what you're getting.
Yeah. Trained in. So okay.
I'm trying to think. Did I cover all of that? He's healthy as could be now. You saw him. Yeah. Would you see him yesterday?
He looked great.
He looks great.
He
right?
looks amazing. Yeah. And they were like, when you saw the doctor here, they're like, "What did you do?"
So the oncologists here are literally at the point. They're like, "What are you doing?" Because we kept coming back in. Then it was like every 2 weeks. Then you didn't need blood anymore, and everything was up in the normal range. Or you don't need platelets, and then. He was still very they wanted us. This is not what do they call it, top tier, hospital. They really wanted us to go back to UK, and we kept saying we're not going to UK Marquis Center because we're not ever doing any more chemo. So no matter what you guys do here, we're not going back there. If blasts end up in his blood or his white count spikes again, we're not going back. So we're going to stay with what we're doing here. And then the next visit would be like, okay, you're looking good. They were less concerned. So what's going on? And, they didn't ask too much about it. We're seeing a functional doctor, we're changing his diet, we're sitting in the sun, we're, water, air, filters, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then it was the next, maybe a month goes by, and they were starting to all right, who are you seeing? What are you doing? And this last visit, maybe a month ago, they were like, what products are you taking? What stuff are you on? What are you doing? What's your protocol? What are you doing?
They wanted the info because of how well he was doing.
I'll tell you. So we had, I don't want to say the doc's name here, but we have it was very, very much like this at the beginning. Now he's great.
Isn't that funny?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it funny how results kind of speak for themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's too much of an ego thing, and it's like, oh, that's just a fluke.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
So you were doing tell about the sound thing real quick. I told you I wanted to talk about, because you mentioned the cicadas at the because I don't know much about that. So
I wouldn't have thought anything about it. Every year, I don't hear them so much this year, probably because they all came out of the ground last year. But the cicadas, there's either a 13 or a 17-year cycle. I guess last year was the 17.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing afterwards, because after these things came out, it's the frequency of these things, and they started to come out, and they did, and they bring, and I read about them, and they're supposed to bring everything out of the ground. So if we're in this area with AK steel and old coal mines and benzene, all that shit goes into the soil. It doesn't matter, like, you know, it's just all over here in Ashland. And then we have the Ohio River. You have Dow Chemical in West Virginia. We have DuPont. Look at the movie Dark Waters, Mark Ruffalo's movie. That was legit in West Virginia.
That's a really good movie.
It's a great movie.
Parkersburg, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So all that just comes right down the Ohio River. Yeah, and they call this whole area the allergy capital. Why do you think? Because it's toxins. It's all these 5 things. It's like molds, mycotoxins, parasite, whatever it is. It's, you know, heavy metals. That's heavy metals. All that shit's in the air.
Yeah.
So all this comes out of the ground, whether it's these 5 things, viruses, parasites, heavy metals. Everything comes up from 13 to 17 years, and they were like, it was like a horror show. It was like like little aliens. They come up, but then
they were everywhere.
They were everywhere. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
They were everywhere.
And they do, and they bothered me so much. And I noticed the dogs and the cats didn't want to go outside. So they'd be out with me in the morning, and as soon as like the sun, because I'm up super early, the sun would come up, they would go back inside.
You're like what, 4 a.m., 4:30?
Yeah, 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Usually I don't get out.
Nobody has excuses around Shannon. She's like the early bird.
I do my thing. The workout's done by like 5:30, 6:30. Yeah.
I love it.
So the sun would come out, and then the sound they made was like a deafening, just like I have it on my phone, actually. Should I play it?
Yeah, I really want to hear it, actually.
Yeah, and then for 5 weeks they were out, and I guess, and I did read, I was like, okay, I hope to God that never happens again, because that was horrible. We're supposed to get another maybe cycle in 2029 here, this area. So it was Ohio, all eastern Kentucky, and northern Tennessee was bad last year. So now it's not supposed to be. They move, you know, obviously they're like all over, and they come out. But there is a legit like bug, like cicada specialist at Mount St. Mary's in the college that's in Cincinnati. And I was trying to get a hold of him. He's like, a cicada. I'm like, yeah, what was that? You know, am I correct to say like everything I read on these things and they come up and what they bring? But everybody was sick. I even asked one of our King's daughters, one of the nurses and some people over there, I'm like, can you check and see what the, you know, did you guys have an influx of patients last year with like EBV spike or all that stuff? Because everybody I knew was getting sick. I'm like, yeah, Jimmy went down with a cancer diagnosis, but there was a lot of people, you know, just super
really
strong allergies. Hold on,
so you have these copper sticks that, like you said, are free. It's rife.
Rife therapy. Yeah, that's another thing that we did that kills parasites and kills viruses and fungus.
It's a frequency, and you hold them. You hold them.
They're copper. Yeah, so you can get these Rife machines that people make. Her name's Hulda Clark, is the doctor that came up with this years ago, and had a book. It's called like Cancer is a Fungus, Cancer is a Parasite, and she sets frequencies, certain specific numbered frequencies to hold on to it, and it pushed through your body. And you hold it, and it kills things off in your body. And I legit, like, there's sometimes, I could feel it. Like, I could feel it run through your body.
Yeah.
You can get headaches and things afterwards, but Jimmy said he just tried, what did he say? There was something for frequency number 212, or he did 212. He goes, oh, and he felt that one. The first time I tried it, he was sitting there. It's just to do like 3 or 4 times a day. You go through these cycles of different, you know, might be 7.
Do you just set it? Like it's
12. Yeah, you could set it and then do it for like 3 minutes and then move to a different frequency. And then
I kind of want to play with this. How much does it cost for that?
I gotta see. Some of them are a couple thousand. I think we got ours for under 1,000.
Huh. I'm curious. Yeah. I like to play.
And then different frequencies kill different things in your body to get rid of.
Interesting. There's all kinds.
It's all like base. You know, you think about it, we're all energetic. We're all energy. Yeah. So why would that not work? Or like saying grounding, putting your bare feet on the earth.
I love grounding. Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, of course, Rife would work, but it's like such. Oh, it's
woo woo.
Okay, well, it works for us. So he did it a couple times, right? And he's sitting there. He goes, I'm like, is it working? He goes, I don't know. I haven't felt anything with it. I'm like, let me try it. So he turns it off. I grab it. And he turns it on, and it like shock. It's not a shock. It's just I feel it. Like I felt it everywhere.
Yeah.
And he thought I was screwing with him, and I thought I'm like, oh my God, did you? He goes, are you kidding? You feel that? I'm like, yeah, I feel this. I'm like, do you not feel this? Oh my God, I feel it everywhere. He's like, I don't feel anything. I'm like, either that means you're really broken, or I don't know.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
Rife.
That's funny, Rife. Okay, was there anything else before we start wrapping this up that we didn't talk about with the Jimmy story?
Jimmy.
Because I think this give a lot of food for thought for people.
I think so.
I mean,
and honestly, I said it was just like, I kept saying in the hospital, I'm like, keep it simple, stupid. What do we want to do? Go home and get healthy, clean food, air, water. I'm like, we clean up everything. We got the air filters. We got, and the food is, I'm like, what you put in your body is utmost important. I'm like, you got to eat super clean. Not like you have to forever, but you know what I mean? Like you want it to snap. I'm like, but now.
I tell people like 5 to 10% if you want to have some like healthy people, but do 90% whole food.
Yes.
That's all.
Like
just keep it simple.
Food.
You do real food.
And it was literally like the pasture-raised eggs, and I really do want our own chickens because I get them from friends.
It's good meats, fruits.
I have a cow. Like we always have a cow in the
fruits
freezer,
and veggies.
Grass-fed, grass-finished cow.
Clean
pasture-raised
carbs.
chicken.
That's it. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's really not hard. But I mean, it's hard to stick to.
But it's not. It's like then you eat at home and you don't go out and you know.
Yeah.
And when you go out, you can still eat clean. It's just restaurants have seed oil, so that's the issue.
I want to upload a bunch of like the things that you said so that people can look more into that. Like, and I want to order some of the air things for in here because it's just their old
air,
building.
water, distiller. I'll show you the Rife machine. Snap Kitchen. You want to look at the food thing. They're in Texas, and I got a hold of that CEO and told him too. I'm like, you saved us in Texas because we couldn't get decent food in the hospital, obviously, and I was bringing in the meals. That
needs to change. I know they're trying to work on some of that, I think, but I mean that needs to really change.
Yeah. That was just floored by that when we were down there. I'm like, for sure it's got to be different.
That's like the biggest thing. I have to shout out Ashley because she's our food prepper and she just makes it's the best thing ever. I love it so much. We just have clean, healthy food all the time in our fridge now.
That's awesome. Great. And then you have no excuse.
No excuse.
Grab it, warm it up, right?
And Lainey's keeping me on the straight and narrow with the sweets right now, so it's good. Anyways, but all right, as always, we're going to end with a quote, and this one is, "It is not the strength of the body that counts, but the strength of the spirit." J.R.R. Tolkien.
I like that.
I like it too. So, Shannon, thank you for sharing. You know you're going to be back on because we have like 50 gazillion topics we could talk about.
And I'm sure I forgot something.
So, you know you're coming back, but I think this was good because there's a lot of people affected by cancer, and I think this it gets people thinking outside the box a little bit and not just going with what somebody tells them because that doesn't mean it's the right thing.
You make your own decisions on your health.
You have the...
And there are options, and I just think there's so much out there.
You have authority on what goes in your body and what is done to your body. Yeah. And, like, I think sometimes we forget that. And just because somebody has more education doesn't mean they know exactly what's right for you.
Correct.
So, anyways, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. We'll see you the next time.